students, hope you are well. Today we learn about narration. Dear students, you know that we may report a speaker's speech in two ways. These are direct speech and indirect speech. When we quote a speaker's actual words, then it is called a direct speech, and when we do not quote a speaker's actual words, then it is called indirect speech. For example, if I say, Mr. John said to me, I am writing a letter, then here I am writing a letter is direct speech, because I am quoting the actual words of Mr. John. If I say, Mr. John told me that he was writing a letter, here I am not quoting the actual words of Mr. John, so this is indirect speech. Dear students, you have learned a lot about in class 8. Today I will discuss in short about narration, because you are a student of class 9. So let's start. Mr. John said to me, I am writing a letter. I am writing a letter. Look at this direct speech. Let us identify this direct speech. Here we see Mr. John said to me. This is reporting speech. Said. In the reporting speech, that is the verb said, and this said is reporting verb. Then here we see the subject of the reporting speech. Mr. John is the subject of the reporting speech. Then you see me, this is the object. This is the object of the reporting speech. And here you see I am writing a letter within the inverted comma. This is reported speech. Reported speech. And we also see a verb, auxiliary verb here. This is the verb of the reported speech, and this is also the verb of the reported speech. This is the auxiliary verb, and this is the principal verb. These are reported verb. So you have understood which is what. Here Mr. John said to me, this is reporting speech. Mr. John subject, said reporting verb, me object, and here M is reported verb, writing is principal verb, and this is the subject of the reported speech. Subject of the reported speech, and this is the object of the reported speech. So you have understood what is what. Now we will discuss the fundamental rules of narration. Let's see an example. He says, I am ill. John will say, I have finished the work. You see here two sentences. He says, I am ill, and John will say, I have finished the work. Here you notice, here the reporting verb is in the present tense, and here the reporting verb is in the future tense. You should know that if the reporting verb is in the present tense or the future tense, the tense of the reported speech will be unchanged. Here we see what? Here the reported speech is in what tense, dear students? The reported speech here is in the present indefinite tense. So, there will be no change of the tense. So, how we will change this direct to indirect? He says, I am ill. He says that he is ill. So, how have we changed it? Observe, I am ill. This is an assertive sentence, and you also observe that we have added he says and he is ill, these two sentences with the conjunction that. Then you also see that the verb here, the reporting verb here is in the present tense. So, there is no change of the verb. Here it is also in the present tense, present indefinite tense. And look at this second sentence. We see here that the reporting verb is will say. So, what I have said, if the reporting verb is in the present tense or future tense, the tense of the reported speech will be unchanged. That means, here you observe, I have finished the work. This is in what tense? This is in present perfect tense, because have plus past participle form of the verb. So, what you will do, how you will change it? John will say, that he has finished the work. John will say that he has finished the work. How we have changed it? You know that instead of inverted comma, we have put here that as this is an assertive sentence. And what have we done here? You see how, and you have already learned how to change person. Here you see the first person. In the reported speech, the subject is in the first person. So, it will be changed according to the subject of the reporting verb. Is the reporting subject, I mean the subject of the reporting speech is John, that means it's third person. So, I will change into he, and what I have said also that if it is in the future tense, then there will be no change of the tense of the reported speech. As it is in the present perfect tense, so it will also be in the present perfect tense. So, you need not to think so much about this, it is very easy that only you have changed the person here, and you know that with the subject he, you should write down has. Next, I am discussing this sentence. Mr. Jones said to me, I am writing a letter. You have seen this sentence and you have already observed that here the reporting verb said to. That means it is in the past tense, and you have already learned that if the reporting verb is in the past tense, then the reported speech will be changed according to the corresponding past tense. So, how you should change it? You see that Mr. John, as you know, I am writing a letter. This is an assertive sentence. We know that instead, if it is assertive sentence, instead of reporting verb said to, we write down told. So, Mr. John told me, then you should also write down that instead of the inverted comma. Mr. John told me that. Then what I have said, you have to change this according to the corresponding past tense. As it is present continuous tense, so it will be past continuous tense. Mr. John told me that he was writing a letter. Mr. John told me that he was writing a letter. So, I am giving you how to change tense according to the corresponding past tense. Now, I am writing if the reporting verb is in the past tense, so the reported speech will be changed according to the corresponding past tense. How it is being changed? I am writing that present indefinite present indefinite will become past indefinite. Present continuous will become past continuous. Present perfect will become past perfect. Present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous. Then past indefinite will become past perfect. Past indefinite will become past perfect, and past continuous will become past perfect continuous. Past continuous will become past perfect continuous. Okay, you have seen here how to change tenses. Present indefinite will become past indefinite. Present continuous will become past continuous. Present perfect will become past perfect. present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous, past indefinite will become past perfect, past continuous will become past perfect continuous. Likewise, so I am discussing here, you see, in a sentence I am discussing here, at first I am discussing assertive sentence. Assertive sentence, assertive sentence. Rakib said to Ratan, I write a letter, I write a letter. You see this sentence? Rakib said to Ratan, I write a letter. So, what will be the indirect speech here? Rakib told Ratan that he wrote a letter. How we have changed it? You see that the reported speech is assertive sentence. So, the reporting verb said to has changed to told. And you also see that as the reporting verb said to is in the past tense, so the tense of the reported speech has changed according to the corresponding past tense, what I wrote down earlier a few minutes ago. I write a letter, he wrote a letter. I has become he because the subject of the reporting verb is Rakib, third person. It's very easy. You don't need to think so much about tenses. Just see that write, wrote. You just need to change the person, then it's very simple. You know there are three forms of verb: present form, past form and past participle form. And you will just write down in case of present indefinite tense, you will just write the past form of the verb, right? You know that write, wrote, written. So, you will just write down wrote. Then I'm reporting speech. I'm not writing the whole sentence. I'm just writing here the reported speech here. If it is like this, writing a letter, what will be? How you will change it? Rakib said to me, I am writing a letter. It's very easy. You will just write down Rakib told Ratan that he was writing a letter. What you have done? You have just written the past form of the verb am. The past form, you know, the past form of the verb am is was. So, it will be okay. Then if it is like this, I have written a letter. Rakib said to Ratan, I have written a letter. So, how we will change? Similarly, we will change. Rakib told Ratan that he had written a letter. Very easy. How? You don't need to know what is past perfect tense. I have written a letter. You don't need to know this, whether it is present perfect, or any other tenses. If you do not know, you will just write down the past form of the verb. What is the past form of the verb have? You know, the past form of the verb has and had is had. So, I have been writing a letter. This is present perfect continuous tense, and you have already learned that if the reporting verb is in the past tense, the reported speech will be changed according to the corresponding past tense. So, it will be past perfect continuous tense. You don't need to worry about this. What is past perfect continuous tense? You just write down here. You see have. You just change it into had. I have been writing a letter. So, what will be the past form here? What will be the indirect form? I mean, Rakib told Ratan that he had been writing a letter. Rakib told Ratan that he had been writing a letter. So, it is very easy. Never think or never worry about the tense. What I have said, you just follow what I have said here, that you will just you know that I have already told it that there are three forms of verbs: present form, past form and past participle form. You will just write down the past form in this case. Suppose this is a base form write and past form is wrote. Here the base form is am, the past form is was. Here the present form is have, the past form is had, and here also have, the past form is had. So, it is very easy. Next I am telling you another rule about present assertive sentence. We have also left some other tenses here. So, if it is I wrote a letter, Rakib said to Ratan, I wrote a letter. What will be here? You see, you have learned that if it is reported speech is past indefinite tense, it will become past perfect tense. Okay. So, Rakib told Ratan that he had written a letter. And some of you are worried how to make past perfect tense. It is also very simple. You see here that if it is past indefinite tense, then you should put had before the past participle form of the verb. Here the verb is wrote, the present form of the verb is write, past form of the verb write is wrote, and you know that the past participle form of the verb write is written. So, it is very, you do not think about past perfect tense, you just think that you have to write down the past participle form, and before that you put had, then it will become past perfect tense. So, Rakib told Ratan that he had written a letter. I was writing a letter, then what will be? Dear students, you have already learned that if the reported speech is in the past continuous tense, it will become past perfect continuous tense. So, Rakib told Ratan that he had been writing a letter. Rakib told Ratan that he had been writing a letter. How we have changed it? Are you also worried about how we have changed it, how we have made it past perfect continuous tense? It's also very easy. You see that writing a letter, we have also written here writing a letter. Then how we have done here, past perfect continuous. We have said that it will be, if it is past continuous tense, it will be past perfect continuous. So, you know that if it is perfect tense, you have to write down has, had or had. You already know it. So, here you have written had, then this is, you have also written been. Why you have written here been? You also know that the past perfect form, the past participle form of was is been. The past participle form of was is been. So, it is very easy for you to change from direct speech to indirect speech. Let us know something about if the reported speech is future indefinite tense, what we will write down. John said to Samuel, I will go to Egypt tomorrow. John said to Samuel, I will go to Egypt tomorrow. And you see the reported speech here is future indefinite tense, and there is will. If there is will or shall, then we will change will into would and shall into should. So, how we will change it? See, you see, John told Samuel that he would go to Egypt the next day. So, John told Samuel that he would go to Egypt the next day. Here you have also changed the person. If this is first person, it has changed according to the subject. He would go to Egypt the next day. And here will has become would. Then you have also noticed here that this is a time indicating word tomorrow, and it has become the next day. So, there are time and place expression words which you should also change. I am writing a few of them. Time and place expression words here direct, indirect, here will become there, today, that day, tonight, that night, tomorrow, the next day I have already written it, yesterday, the previous day, etc. you have already learned about, so I am not writing all these time and place expression words, direct, indirect, here, there, today, that day, tonight, that night, yesterday, the previous day, last week, the previous week, the next week, the following week, etc. You have already learned it. Okay. Next, I am also writing, but we have learned a lot about assertive sentences, how to change assertive sentences from direct to indirect. There is one thing also you should know. If the reported speech is universal truth, what will be? Suppose slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. What about this? How you will write this? Should you need to change it? Should you need to change the verb here? You don't need to change the verb here. So what will be? John told Samuel that slow and steady wins the race. If it is man is mortal, this is universal truth. So you should write down John told Samuel that man is mortal. Dear students, what we have learned today? We have learned today how to change from direct to indirect. Particularly, we have learned about assertive sentences, how to change assertive sentences from direct to indirect. We have also learned how to change persons. We have also learned how to change tenses, and so many things we have learned today. Dear students, I have given here you some homework. You will do it at home and you will get it checked by your class teacher after opening school. So let's see the homework here. Change the speech. Number 1, Sanjida said to me, I cook rice. Number 2, Alif said to me, you have done well in the exam. Number 3, Ratun said to Rakib, you are playing well. Number 4, Andy said to Samuel, I have been suffering from coronavirus. Number 5, Afroja said to Firoz, I went to India last year. Number 6, Andy said to Samuel, I have been playing football for a long period of time. Then number 7, Anisur said to Afjal, I'll go to England tomorrow. So today after this, we'll discuss other topics, other sentences about narration. See you. Allah Hafiz. Dear students, you will get it in Kishore Batayan, and you can express your comments, views there, and you can also play quiz there. So, goodbye.